We are here today. We are here because we are learning about mental health and psychosocial support. First of all, I want to begin by appreciating this church because, in the church settings, the topic of mental health has been a taboo for discussions because of so many issues around it. But I'm glad that we are beginning to, unmask some of these myths around mental health and mental illness. Like we've all witnessed here, there were 3 eggs given out, 2 have come back intact, 1 is damaged. Question is, what do you think was behind the success of these 2 eggs I'm holding right now in my hands? What do you think was behind the success? Yes.
To me, the success depended on the, after putting the paper, it was tightly bound. Then more paper was put, tightly bound. So these 2, which are not broken, you realize that the other first one, still the wrapping was not tightened each time.
That means when we were having the wrapping, as we were covering it, the covering wasn't in the form of various layers. Because from what he's saying, there were various layers for other groups. You saw it? Very good. And what else?
It was tightened all around. The other one, which is broken, I think the wrapping was not enough, and the tightening it with the masking tape. Masking tape was not efficiently done.
True. What else do you think was behind the success of this? Yes.
To me, ladies are better at handling delicate issues.
Okay.
The other 2 groups are all ladies who masterminded.
So here it was only men.
Our lady came when we were almost finished.
So it was only men.
Men have rough hands in handling.
Okay. Very true. There is a point there. We shall come back to it. We shall come back to it. Yeah. Yes. One other. What do you think was behind the success of this? Yes.
Okay. First and foremost, I like to disagree with him because our group, we had 1 female, but the people who mainly did blood were the men.
But there was an advice that was coming from the lady.
So the success is basically how you wrapped.
How you wrapped as a team.
Yes.
So what can we say about that?
I think the success of the Group 3 in particular was teamwork.
Teamwork.
We had to come together and say, what do we do? And people gave ideas.
Very good.
And then we
Very good.
Okay, let's
Very
try
good.
it if it works out.
Very good. Very good. What? Yes.
Mine is more of identifying the Group 1.
Okay.
We were basically just rapping and then not focusing on all the areas.
You didn't focus on all the areas. You were just rapping for the sake of rapping. Very good point, actually, because we are coming back there. Yes. What do you think was behind the success of this?
We also looked at what could be the possible points this egg could break from.
Very good. Possible points where these eggs could get problems. And that's where you focus. Yeah?
Yes. I also know that an egg, which if it doesn't break from these other pointed parts, it normally breaks in the middle. You squeeze the egg from these pointed parts very hard with your smooth surface, it will not break.
But in the middle?
In the middle,
this is where the weak link is. So identifying the weak link and then focusing on it is very critical. Very good. Yes.
For Group 2, there's a way we are all determined that to ensure that this egg must not break.
Okay. Everybody was determined
to ensure that this egg must not break.
I like that. Yes.
When you throw the eggs up, I noticed that this particular egg which broke it fell on the other hard surface. While
All of them were falling on the same surface.
these other ones fell here on this soft part. But that particular
This particular area here is all of the same caliber, not so? It is all the same surface. Yeah.
And there are stones here. Look.
Yeah, there are stones everywhere.
the other stones are hard.
Stones are all hard.
Yes. Now, I want to come back to something here. That's why we are discussing mental health and psychosocial support. What happens when it comes to mental health? Now I want to break down what mental health is, and then we'll be able to go down slowly, and what psychosocial support is. Now, the term mental health and psychosocial support basically refers to both inside or outside support. Yeah, that is in a place to ensure that the well-being of every one of us is very well, and at the same time prevents or treats mental illness. That's why we're talking about these issues. Now, coming to mental health as it is. Mental health is the mental well-being that enables me and you to work well, to learn well, to realize our abilities, to manage our stresses on a daily basis, and to contribute to our community. That is mental health. Where has been the problem? When people hear the word mental health, they think about Butabika. Yes? They think about Butabika because when they hear the word mental health, their mind already runs into the mental health unit. And even when their mind runs there, they are thinking of mentally ill people. No, that's not about mental health. On the other side, mental illness has to do with now a mental health condition that affects the thoughts, the mood, and behavior, and how we perceive the world around us. In other words, mental illness is now the sickness that affects the mind. So that now the mind cannot be able to think well, the mind cannot learn well, the mind cannot do anything well, and at the end of the day, we then see this manifest through the mood and the behavior. That's not mental illness. Now, but even still, when we come to the interventions that are around mental health, we are saying help is available. That's number one. And where is this help? One, from teamwork. These two eggs are a testimony that where there is a teamwork, mental health crisis can actually be minimized. If there is a teamwork, if there is a support, if everybody is doing something to protect the egg from breaking, because this egg has potential for life if all factors are constant. This egg, we expect life from here. This egg is a source of food. This egg is a source of medicine. This egg does so many good things. And when the pressure to break this egg comes from inside, we expect life. Yes? But when the pressure comes from outside, we expect damage. And even when the pressure is too much from outside, but with enough cushion, with enough covering, with enough protection around, damage will not be there. And if it's there, it is going to be a small percentage. That's why out of the 3 eggs, 1 broke. It's not possible that all the eggs must break. Not possible. Even if you added like 10, only one will break. Or even none can even break. That explains why we are emphasizing the need for mental health awareness. That's why we are trying to emphasize all these issues. Now coming back to represent this egg, looking at this egg now in terms of our mental health, in terms of our mind, in terms of our brain. What happens? We look at many of these things can break if there are environmental factors, if there are issues that are around oppressing us from all angles. But then the point will be, how can we protect, how can we work out things so that these issues are minimized? Now coming back to the one talking, I want to now begin by saying this. One, even when it comes to mental illness is treatable and people can recover from it. How do I know? I am one of them. Number two, I want to also let us know that there are so many myths which are wrong around mental illness. I'm sure you've heard of people who say mental illness only affects those who are poor. But I've seen the rich commit suicide. I've seen those who have everything you will think of die like dogs. I've also seen people who have so many friends but they still get depressed. Why? Every one of us is fighting a battle that others don't know. The battle is in the mind. And this battle is coming from all kinds of angles. What are some of those issues that normally affect us, that make us to break this egg? I want to explain a few of them. Number one, from my lived experiences, and I've been broken. And I want to tell you this. I am one person who was in 7-figure debts. If you look at 7-figure, and then you can know what I'm talking about. To be precise, if you look at 7-figure, you're talking about 7 zeros. And then you can now talk about you can now begin to figure out the amount of money I was. This is more than 10 million I'm talking about. Me. To the extent that I have the bank statement here. For 3.5 years, 100% of my salary is taken by the bank because of the loans I had. 3.5 years. Salary goes, you receive the message alert, and then immediately also you get the other message alert that this has been chopped. Balance is 0 for 3.5 years. And you are a man with the beards. You can imagine the kind of pressure that comes. I think now we are talking, eh? I thought I was a very handsome young man. But after 8 heartbreaks, I sobered up. I'm now a married man. But after 7 heartbreaks, so I know what it means to be heartbroken. After you have invested the money, you have invested. You know, for us men, when we love a girl, we invest. Though it is most of the young men who are here can testify how you buy chips and chicken for your girlfriend, but then you will walk home. The balance you will give her for transport, but for you will walk. When you reach your home, you make chikomando. You get these guys who make chapata and beans. You get chikomando. Even sometimes you borrow, you even beg them to help you, but you gave out chicken and chips. That's the one thing that people don't understand. But we've been through that. After all these investments, then you do what? And then they tell you it is over. You begin afresh. Yes, yes, yes. I've been there myself. So I know what it means to be heartbroken. Especially by somebody you love. You really love them. And for us boys, what even happens is when you love a girl, you get her picture, you put it in your wallet. Even if you have no money, you will make sure that where you are with some of your friends, you remove the wallet, but you open it in a way that they must see the picture. But then after that, they tell you it is over. And then you get another picture as well. Life continues. Relationship plays a very big role because it's also a pressure. That's why you find people who get 1 or 2 heartbreaks, they think of giving up on life. And I'm glad I'm talking from the church setting. You'll find people in the church who say, now I'm serving God. I no longer want anything to do with the marriage. I'm now serving God. No, you can still serve God when you're married. It's still possible. You can still heal. That wasn't enough. I've been through this myself. Because I'm talking from my lived experiences. I know what it feels to be rejected and abandoned. Because first of all, even I was rejected before I was born. So I know what it means to be rejected by your own family. What it means to be rejected by your own clan. What it means to be rejected at your place of work. What it means to be rejected and nobody wants anything to do with you. In your relationship, in your marriage, things around you. I've been there myself. So at the end of the day, I know this also plays a very big role in putting a lot of pressure for damages in our mind. Yeah? And finally, I'm not ashamed to bring this story out because many of us will struggle. That's why this book, the subtitle is How to Thrive Amidst Mental Health Challenges. Because right now we're in a season, we're in an era where mental health challenges are everywhere. And these are triggered by so many factors. Loss of jobs, rejection, financial crisis, barrenness. Maybe you are married and then years have passed, but there's no child. Maybe you are there, age is catching up with you, you think, and nobody is saying hello. Maybe you are there, you go to the salon, you do your hair very nicely, but after 6 hours of that heat, you come out and nobody even compliments and says a word. All of these issues are there. We struggle with them. But what are we saying? Help is available. Help is available. First of all, I want to say that you're not alone. In as much as I know mental health challenges has a way of clothing us with a garment of shame, with a garment of rejection, with a garment of despair, help is available. I want to also say this, that even in the Bible, so many people are recorded to have suffered mental illness in the Bible. Can I give you some examples because we're in the church compound? Yes. The first woman to ever be recorded in the Bible to have suffered depression, for example, is Hagar, after the rejection and being thrown out of Abraham's house. You remember the story? Yes. The second woman I've also come across in the Bible is Hannah, because of barrenness. Even here among the Lugbara here, because I'm in my community now here in Lugbara, among the Lugbara people, when even I'm sure when Becca got married, within 3 weeks, people's expectation was that Madame should at least begin to vomit. Within 3 weeks. And if somebody takes more than a year without a child, you will begin to hear whispers. And before you know it, people will begin to even give you a title that you don't even deserve. That's why others will even sing for you a song. Mama we mawedo etoni mazakwalato dadi etoti niko di kamerdote. You have heard of that song? Then you will hear the names Ondo. Just because within just yet 6 months or 1 year, something is not there. But you will hear people will begin to talk. But for this other woman, for Hannah, it was more than many years. And it drove her crazy. The third woman I can cite for you is Naomi. She lost her husband. She lost her 2 sons. Can I go to men? Oh, so many. Moses. He even told God, am I the one who gave birth to all these 70 million people? Where can I get meat for all of them? Because of mental health problem, the man became angry. In fact, anger is one of the symptoms of mental illness. That's even why Moses never went to the promised land. God killed him before he could reach the promised land because of anger. Can we continue? Elijah, after calling fire in chapter 18, in chapter 19, the guy was suicidal. The guy said, let me die. I'm not good enough. After calling fire, Prophet Jeremiah, he even told God, God, you deceived me and I've been deceived. When I died in my mother's womb as a miscarriage. This was now Prophet Elijah. Sorry, Prophet Jeremiah. Prophet Jonah, man of God, went crazy. Why? Because of jealousy. I want to emphasize to all of us, jealousy is the last class you attend before you become a full-time witch. You can't be jealous of somebody and you wish them well. Never. But you can imagine Prophet Jonah. Prophet Jonah of all people. Because of envy, because of jealousy, he felt some people are not good enough, they should die. Can I continue with the men? King David, King Saul, King Nebuchadnezzar. Can I continue? Job. Can I continue a bit? With the men, how many men are those now? So many men who battled this crisis, including the one and the only, the Savior. One day I was talking to the clergy, they said, you man, you are a blasphemer. I said, no, let's go slowly before you even stone me for being a blasphemer. Let's be honest. What did the prophet Isaiah say about him in prophecy? He said he will be a man of sorrow, a man of grief, a man of so many challenges, not so? And then when the man came and told his friends, please pray for me. I need your help. That's why I keep encouraging, please ask for help where you need help. Otherwise, you can lose it just like that. So even in the Bible, people struggled. So what are we saying? Help is available. All of these people actually got help. All of these people. None of them died of suicide. None of them committed suicide. None of them, even though they were at the verge, some of them, they were still able to be helped. That's why we are saying help is always available. 2, even the recovery is there. People can actually recover. Now, because I didn't want to make this to be like more of a lecture, I want us to discuss. I want us to dialogue. I want to answer so many questions. So that if you have questions in your mind, you have things that have been around you and you have always wanted to ask but you didn't have anybody to ask. Today is the opportunity. Yeah. Like I said, we are here to support. As a Voice of Restoration, we are here. Why are we here? Because we want to see how to support. Just like we learned from the story of the eggs, how we wrap these eggs. We want to see how do we learn, how do we support one another. Maybe before I take the questions, I want to prepare for whatever mental health problem. People actually recover and they live productive lives. By God's grace, on 14th of May, I'm launching this book in Kampala at National Theatre. And some of the speakers who are going to speak during the book launch are people with lived experiences who were once in Butabika. Not once, even twice in Butabika, but they have right now recovered and they are doing well. Others recovered, went back to school, and they have finished school and they are working. Others are doing different projects. That's why we're saying help is available. Help is always there. Recovery is possible. How do we treat? 3 things that need to be in place. 1, I want to emphasize. I know we are close to Congo here. We normally say there is a herbal medicine. When you get it from Congo, you will recover. Herbal medicine doesn't treat mental illness. Get proper medical treatment from a recognized facility. That's why if somebody has depression, for example, you are given antidepressant plus other medications. If you are suffering from psychosis, you are given antipsychotic drugs. So which leaves will give you those? Which routes will you take for each of those? Please, I want to emphasize. Treatment is there. The 3 means that are there that I've proved and it works. Number 1, psychological treatment. What makes you cry most of the times is not the physical pain in your body. It is because of the emotional wounding. It is because of the thing that you feel within you. Yeah? That's why David says in Psalms 42, that's when also another man cry. Because also I cried. I still cry, by the way. David says, my tears have been my food day and night. When men continually ask, where is your God? I don't know if you have read that scripture of Psalms 42 verse 3. What makes us cry is issues that affect our feelings. Not so? So, you need somebody to talk to you. You need a psychologist, you need a counselor, you need somebody to talk to. You need a relative to talk to, you need a friend to talk to. That's why, do you know why women are hardly commit suicide? Because women talk. If they go to the market, they will talk. If they find themselves in the saloon, they will talk, even if they don't know each other. They'll just ask, how are you doing? How is your in-law? How is this? How is, yeah. They pour out all their issues. When they go home, they are sober. But for us, you see why the other egg broke? It was mainly men. Men don't talk. Men don't talk. Men are taught that you be a man. Endure the pain of life as a man. Be a man. Die like a sheep. Don't cry for help. Die like a man. So before you know it, things fall apart. Please, let's talk. Let's talk. That's where we get help. Number 2, the medical treatment. Now, the medications must be able to deal with your body symptoms, issues around your body. That's why every one of us, we have the body, we have the soul, we have the spirit. Your soul needs somebody to talk to. Your body needs medication. Please get your medication. That's why even God said it, that there are particular plants that He has given us for food and also as medicine. That means He knows that our body needs what? Treatment. So the medications are there. Number 3, because we are also a spirit being, you need the spiritual angle. That's where prayers must work. I'm sure you've come here for deliverance services. I'm sure you've come here for prayer and for other services within here, Bible study and all that. And even sometimes you come to church, after the service you say, oh, I'm helped, because the way this person preached, I'm helped. Not so? I feel better. Why? There is a spiritual nourishment that you need. That's why these 3 must work hand in hand. Otherwise, like I repeat again, help is available. How do you get the help? Accept that you need the help. It begins with accepting that you need help. Do you know that the one talking to you never bathed for a month? And they kept saying that I'm fine. Nobody can even approach me because I was unapproachable. Nobody could come near me because even first of all my color, and now I'm not bathing, I'm not shaving, everything is falling apart. I just show up and I'm working. So I know what I'm talking about. It gets back to a place where we must accept that I need help. Where I am, I'm not operating well. That's why I want to throw the challenge back to us. If you see the work you do, how you are working, if you see how you are, maybe you're in school, how you are learning, or maybe the way you are doing your things, how are things? Do you see that things are dropping or you are thriving? Because where you feel that things are not moving well, please engage, seek for help. Before I continue, I want to introduce my colleague. Peter, please, you can say hi to us and you can supplement some things more, and then we go into question and answer. Thank you.
Is it afternoon or evening? Okay. Good evening to you all. My name is Peter Anavo. We support the agenda of mental health together with Daniel. We traverse the whole of West Nile. So we are here to move the agenda. Today it is tailored towards the youth. Why is it being tailored towards the youth? It is because globally the youth has the largest population. It is because in Uganda the youth are the ones suffering more because of mental illness, because of mental disorders. When you go to all these hospitals, you find the youth are the largest proportion admitted, because we have so many things, we have so many needs. When he was talking about the issue of relationship, the youth are suffering from what we call broken heart syndrome. You know broken heart syndrome? His was 7 times. 8. And there are some youth here. Theirs has reached 10. That is what we call broken heart syndrome. Repeatedly it is happening. We have the issue of alcohol and substance abuse. You find, actually, why are there few youth here? Why are we not having the whole compound filled with youth? It's because they have gone to their meeting point where they chumarunji. It is because they have gone to start drinking alcohol. You know some of the substances that they are now using here in our place. Smoking the dry skin of snakes.
The gray hair.
Actually, the other time I was telling elders they should keep their head well, otherwise they'll have issue with the youth. Because they'll come and attack you and then shave off the hair, and then actually, smoke it.
The other ones, what they do is they come nice and say, can we shave you? They come nicely and they convince you, and then you say, yeah, by the way, you can shave. So they shave and then collect the hair and go and smoke.
You understand that? So we really have a cause to sit here together at this time. We have a reason why we are here. And whoever is here, count yourself blessed. Because you are listening from the one who has the experience. For me, I'm a psychiatric nurse. So when he's talking about the therapeutic interventions, when he's talking about the medications, that is where I come in. Even as we're talking now, many of us here down, seated, they have a lot of issues. One of the biggest signs and symptoms is lack of sleep. Sleep refuses you. At night you don't sleep. You are counting the nails, the timber, the iron sheets, so many things. You lose appetite. You don't eat. Food is there, nicely, but you don't eat. You isolate yourself. As he said, you become highly suicidal. So when, yes.
Anger also is there.
Yes, anger. Anger is one of them.
Withdrawing and isolating yourself.
You isolate yourself.
Loss of interest in the daily activities that you used to love doing.
That is it.
Lack of basic personal hygiene.
For him, 1 month he did not bathe. You understand?
The body pains, your body is paining, go to hospital, they test you and they say you are fine.
You are
but
fine.
when you are in pain,
Actually, we don't go to hospital because we have mental problems. It is very rare for somebody to say, I have a mental problem, I have to go to the hospital. But you look at these symptoms, I have body ache, I have headache, which are not resolving. You go, they tell you you don't have malaria, go home. They give you Panadol. Your problem is psychological. Your problem is social. You understand? Now, in this world, we have what we call the dimensions of mental health. How do we approach? That is where we sometimes have issues with the other stakeholders. We have the spiritual dimension. We have the cultural dimension. We have the medical dimension. In medicine, we assess you, we diagnose you, we treat you. But in the culture, they'll say, the other time you didn't pay the dowry of your grandmother. As a lady, you insulted your you insulted your mother-in-law. That's why you're having this. In the church, they say this is demon. You're demon possessed. How do we bring all this to interact? Want to hear from you. What are some of the things that you want to understand? Okay? We have just broken the tip of the ice. For you to understand what mental health is, what a mental disorder is, how does it come, what are some of the perspectives? Is it okay? Otherwise, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. Wish you the best as we keep on discussing. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a few flyers here. When I was at the Ministry of Health this week, actually, I got enough materials that I can share because we need to give information. That's even why the Bible says in Congo here we normally say mon peuple périt par le mal de connaissance. Not so? In English it means my people perish for lack of. Look what is bayangone. By the jadise. So I have this information from Ministry of Health. This is particular on schizophrenia. There are so many types of mental illness, and schizophrenia is one of them. Schizophrenia, in other words, is a chronic psychosis, if I may use that word. Psychosis is where you live in a real world. Let me use the local language that people understand. You are living your life based on hunters. For those of us who have been with people who eat marungi. When hunters hit you, the way you think is not the normal. That's why the other day a young man from Maracha wanted to go and buy a lorry, but he had his 4,000 shillings. From Maracha, he wanted to go and buy a lorry because he feels he had the money, but he had 4,000. Convincing him that even the 4,000 was not enough for him to come from Maracha to Arua, because they take 5,000 from Maracha. It was a work, psychosis at work. You can be here, but you feel you are something, but when you count billions, but when you are broke. Psychosis at work. If you want to understand psychosis, because psychosis is triggered mostly because of drugs also. If you have your Bible, you can read Proverbs 23. Begin from verse 29. You'll understand what I'm talking about, what psychosis does. Now, this is particularly for schizophrenia, and there are so many other types of mental illness. But we cannot say that you have this. It is until somebody goes to diagnose what they have from the facility. Please don't just assume. Don't self-medicate. If you're not sleeping, don't just go to the pharmacy and then you begin to buy some sleeping pills. No, please, I beg, don't. Go find out what the problem is. What is making you not to sleep? Is it lack of money? Women who are here can testify, even those who are married. If your husband is broke, he's an angry man. Many of us, when our parents were broke, they were also rude. It is obvious. So, you know, but there are so many of these issues. We need to understand what is making what. Because there are so many types of mental illness, and everybody suffers differently, depending on, like we said, so many factors are in there, so many symptoms, and so many issues around there. But also I know among the Lugbara here, when somebody is struggling with sometimes mental illness symptoms, we say it is Lugbara tea. And then they will tell you that you need to bring elders to come and eat. Elders must do this. Elders must do that. But at the end of the elders eat your goats, they go, nothing happens. It continues. We need to get information that these issues, most of it is psychological problems that we go through in our daily lives. Yeah. And then some of these issues come because of the genetical components that we have in our bodies, the hormonal imbalances, and all of that. But help is always available. We want to take questions and comments. Or you can also share with us your experience, if that's okay with you. Yes, sir. Yes, please. Would you mind if you can come and share it from here? Thank you.
I came a little bit late.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know the organization you're representing.
Yeah, Voice of Restoration.
Okay, I see. My name is Mzamil. You're a person who is sharing experience.
Yeah.
We have got the Peer Nation. I don't know whether you came across that organization.
Yeah, I know Peer Nation.
Yeah.
I was with the AD actually in Kampala.
I see.
I normally meet him a lot.
I see. I'm a peer support worker. I'm also a client like he is, or he was. But I'm a client of epilepsy, which is also handled by the mental health department. Actually, mental health involves, as you said, so many things. We have the schizophrenia, as you said. We have bipolar, epilepsy, and then the drug-related complications, or just what we call substance. There is something he mentioned about what revolves around mental health problems. Actually got so much pinched up when he said the way people look at it is so costly that sometimes you end up spending more on what people say than what actually you should have got. That is, what people say goes to the myth. Then coming to proper medication, you may find out that it's actually cheaper.
Yeah.
But the person himself does not find a sense of going for the what? For the treatment. He must be helped by someone else. That's particularly for the other three. But for a person living with epilepsy like I am, many people think also in the same way that epilepsy must be a curse. It must be spirits that cause it. It must be that your grandmother's bride was not completed. Maybe so-and-so died and the funeral rites were not held. This could also be the case. So generally, we have got the traditional therapy. That's what surrounds it. How traditionally you handle it. Mental health and epilepsy just have got the same problems that surround. Let's say now the disgrace is very high. I can share with you, when I first developed epilepsy, it never came like fits. I was not having fits. I was just having, I will see images and just begin running away. And I was a child. So my parents will get so much bothered. My mother was more bothered than my father was. She didn't go to school, but my father went to school. My father just analyzed and said, this could be some kind of malaria or something to do with that. And I'll be taken to hospital, things are checked up, and they don't find anything. When I was in primary 6 is when I had my first epileptic attack, or what we call seizure. When I share with people and say I have epilepsy, they will say, but how? You don't have scars, you look okay. Sometime back I was on TV, they were asking me, I think people are just trying to look for money. Because they know a person with epilepsy must fall in fire, he must get burnt, he must lose this. But no, when you're on medication and you treat yourself well, you handle yourself well, you can still avoid some of these things.
True.
People go to those extents because there's not much help given to them. So when I had my first epileptic attack, I didn't believe it. I was told, what happened to you is exactly what happened to the other neighbor of ours, because we had a neighbor who used to have it. I was like, are you sure? Then acceptance comes in. But how? Why me? Is it true that I am like that? But I used not to be like that. That's when I realized I had something different. Now when I got to Arua Hospital, in year 2000, I began getting proper medication. Up to now, I am just okay. I don't have the fits, though I'm still on medication. So when people live with mental health challenges, they are mostly governed by by what people say. They don't think about going for pharmacotherapy. Is actually not there. It is actually the last resort. And for me, it is actually what has helped me most. We tried all these traditional ways. One, my mother went to what we call the religious healers. When we talk about the traditional therapy, we mean so many things. The religious healers. A man came in and came to pray, performed some rituals, gave me something to, and it's really very funny. They got some herb, prepared it with the flesh of pigeon. You also know how the religious people value goats, rather sheep, pigeons, and so on. That this must be boiled with pigeon. What happened was I only ate pigeon meat, and I continued to have my feet. There was no change. As if it was not enough, she had to go home. I was called to go to our village in Lodonga. They said, you know, your grandmother was a herbalist, and that she used to have spirits. And these spirits may have not been inherited. So maybe he's looking for someone to inherit them. So what happened was they brought someone from my father's mother's clan and bought a cock. And then they said, you take these spirits back to, it's your daughter's spirits, you take them back. What happened was that I was made to sit. He got the cock, talked and said, if it is our daughter's spirit, today I've come to pick this spirit, I'm going back with it and to round my head with a cock. Then he went that he's retaken the spirits. They went and ate their cock. I remained with my epileptic attacks here. As if it was not enough, there was a magician. They said this one is from Marid. There's a place called Marid in Sudan. They said those people are not easy via such kind of a treatment. I went to him there, but then 5,000 shillings was big money. I was still in primary 6. And they said the condition here is you must not shake hands for 3 days. I was just a little boy. I came out from there, my friends were going to school. I just met, hey, so-and-so, how are you? Why are you not going to school today? I'd already shaken hands. And they said, now because they've already shaken hands, the power of the medicine has gone to the other person. You see this? One came with the herbs and said, this one here, this is what we call ojo. This one you must come very early in the morning, don't taste anything. I will also not taste anything. I'm coming to give it for you here. I went there, this woman got her things, gave me, and said, this thing is going to be all right. I will drink it every time. The fits continued to be there. Nothing happened. So if you collectively take the wind, it's much more than the pharmacotherapy I am getting from the hospital.
True.
Actually, our people lack information. Information is not reaching them. And as a peer support worker from the hospital, every Wednesdays, I meet people with mental health challenges and share my experience because I'm a person of lived experience like him. I try to bring them up. And I'm also the volunteer for persons with epilepsy in the whole of Arua. We have an organization called Mental Health Service Users of Arua Regional Referral Hospital. It's a small registered CBO. We want to see what actually lacks there in the hospital is this. In the hospital, people who are sick and people who take care of the sick don't differ from each other. The environment is so boring that they don't get relief. Some organizations try to bring some equipments, games, but the person who should have handled it is actually not there. So sometimes we try to volunteer to go there, but it actually needs a proper organization where someone sits there to do that kind of work for him. And I asked them and said, there used to be someone here to handle this. Why? Because someone goes out. Now let's focus on the youth. When the youth go out there, sometimes they sit in groups where they smoke opium. In these groups, they eat marungi. they sniff petrol and do everything that causes mental health challenges. When they come to hospital, they get all right, but they go back to the same group. You see this? The problem is outside there. The problem is now no longer in the hospital, but the medicine is available. So when they go outside there, and they're already feeling okay, the same friend also drags him and says, "You come, let us just test
better, come and join us again.
Come and join us again." We were thinking we could have cards there. We even have them there, but there's no one who administers them for them. To keep them there, and I was telling them, if you know that the environment outside there is so tempting, is your biggest problem, you come and play your cards from here. Where there's no opium here, there's no alcohol here. If you think it's so tempting from outside, because some people don't have people even to stay with. Persons with epilepsy, for instance, are so much stigmatized. So much that some of them don't have people to live with. Then I will encourage them and say, why don't we form a group? We come and sit here every Saturdays from 2 to 5. You get people to talk to. As he was saying, if you don't talk, okay, it becomes a very big problem. So come and sit here with people and you talk. As we learn how to do things, we can learn how to make mats, we can learn how to make local crafts. We don't spend the time like that. Maybe you don't earn. If we do these things, possibly you will get yourselves okay. And as some of my friends tell me, those with other things like a bipolar, they say when they don't earn, it is worse. So when you're talking about financial problem, it's actually the true fact. When you're not earning, you become a very big burden to yourself and you're actually rejected by very many people. And you look at other people doing things, you're not progressing. If you don't handle it well, it causes for you more problems. So things to do with the mental health challenges under epilepsy are actually manageable. But the information is not reaching people very well. We need to give more information for the people. And secondly, there are no finances also to help people who are ready to give this information. I'm actually very happy to see this organization, but it's my first time to see it. When you say they're a person of lived experience, I very well know. I've actually complained to so many organizations. I said, why do you employ people without experiences to do things to do with what? Mental health. You employ persons of experience. Because if I share with you my experience, it's much better than someone telling you. Even the doctors don't know. Sometimes when I'm training them, they don't understand some of the topics. They just sit and also look at me and say, but what does this topic mean? Because the doctor only gives the medication, but he doesn't have experience to share with this person. Okay, how does he convince the parents or the relatives and tell them, do it this way? I can tell them, I say, my parents were like this, my father did this, my mother did this, but today I'm here, I am okay. I also tell them I'm okay. You stay here on your medication. We have a lot to talk, but this is the smallest that I would like to say. Thank you very much.
Wow, I like that, and I'm enjoying this. Just like you said something here, in fact, somebody even attacked me on one of the platforms saying that we are doing this because we want money. But I can tell you, we've done things without money because we want to see people helped. That's the reality. This is the bitter truth that I want to read something that you've just said. Problem is now the stigma you talked about is the biggest problem. Why is around with the stigma? Because with the stigma, people have a lot of the way they disapprove, the way they look at you, the way they treat you, is a big barrier to treatment when it comes to mental health issues. For example, there are 5 angles of stigma that I talked about in my book here. One of it is the social stigma. How public or society sees anybody who has a mental health problem. Now, like he has just rightly put it, I want to bring a few highlights here from what he has just said here. When it comes to mental illness, there are so many types. You have depression, you have anxiety, you have stress, you have bipolar, you have schizophrenia, you have psychosis, you have personality disorders, you have substance use disorders, which is to do with alcohol and drugs. You have developmental, emotional and behavioral conditions, such as like autism. That's why even within our communities here, you have children who are 3 years, but they can't talk because they have developmental problems to do with autism. You have epilepsy, you have suicidal behavior, you have self-harm, so many of these. But all of this, it has different background, it has different causes. Like I like what he has said here, in most cases here we think this is to do with witchcraft. We quickly think it is to do with our grandparents who were not appeased. One time somebody even said that your ancestors who died long ago are not happy with you, so you must appease them. you know. And our people even in the villages, that's why you will see some people bring 2 goats, 3 goats, and then there's even one where they sell lucho. If it's not there will be no blessing for you. You will always be frustrated. Your uncle must bring a he goat, and then you must give your uncle a she goat, and then you must eat his he goat, and which even takes you more into the poverty, you know. Yet it is actually poverty which is triggering most of these issues. And then lack of information, like you have rightly put. That's why, if you have been following, I've been running some of this mental health awareness on radio patches here every Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. If you follow, you can hear my voice now, you can begin to recognize. Why? We are trying to create awareness, we are trying to help people to know that, hey, these things are there, these things happen, these things exist, but help is available. Like my brothers even rightly put here, if you come there to the facility at our referral here, the numbers sometimes are overwhelming. Space is very narrow. That's why we began our office just here in Anyafio down here. That's why we've been doing monthly fellowships, where we call people with lived experience to come and share experiences. We engage each other, and then those who need psychiatric services, we offer them psychiatric services, and then those who need whatever advice we do, because also stigma is real. Societal stigma, I talked about it, how the public views. Number 2, structural stigma. This is to do with the policies and organizations. That's why people live now fear in some organizations. If you have mental illness, they fire you from work. Some people now fear to come up to say that I have this problem, because they know they might lose their job, and that is where their livelihood is. Now you have self-perceived stigma. How will people see me if I go for help? A big issue also we struggle with. I've been to some communities, they will say, how can they see me, the whole me, with my title? How can I go and seek for medical services, mental health services from the hospital there? Line up there when people are seeing me? No. How will people see me? That self-perceived stigma. We have health practitioner stigma. This is where the health practitioner is the one who stigmatizes, is the one who gives stereotypes. The health practitioner now. They see you, that one is don't mind him. Has this problem, that's one. So instead of helping, they're actually making more problems. The last one is associative stigma. This to do with somebody you associate with. For example, if you have a family member who has a mental health challenge, chances are when visitors come home, you will want to lock them up, because it will be a shame to you for your friends to know that you have that kind of condition at home. You know, so because of association, you feel ashamed of your relative who has a mental health problem because of shame. But because of all of this, people are not fearing to come out. That's why, even in this church, I'm sure, many people don't talk about their problems. Even prayer requests are not coming through. People, because when they bring their prayer request to do with the mental illness, they become gossip news. Number 2, even I'm sure all of us who are here, we fear to open up about our HIV status to our church members and our colleagues and our family members because of fear of victimization. And I'm also very convinced, even right now, many of us who are here, many relationships and marriages are in the intensive care unit because people have chosen to suffer in silence. Because of the condition around us. That's why we are saying, hey, help is available, open up, talk. Because when you share, help comes through. 2 things I want to also help us remind us here is this. Even in the Bible says, confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that there may be healing. Healing starts when you're able to open up and share whatever you're going through. I want to announce this. You are as sick as your deepest secrets you've kept to yourself. That's why many of us who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorders, some traumatic experiences happen to us. Some stressful events happen to us, but we fear to speak up. And it is eating us as a virus. That's why we're not sleeping. We're not eating well. And we are fearing to speak. That's where these issues are. That's why I'm really glad for this platform, sir. Please keep it up. Keep it up. You don't know the number you are saving just from this kind of talks. I know there are so many who are online, and there are others who are here also. And I can assure you, help is always available. But the problem is the stigma. The problem is the judgment. Others think that if you have epilepsy like my brother has here, they will say that is a bad omen. They begin to look for every reason why they should actually sideline you. Something that must not be there. Help is available, friends. Can we clap for him again?
Okay, so we...
When it comes to stigma of that kind, me, throughout my life, I was not an easy person to stigmatize.
Okay.
I should defend myself very well. Because my parents pushed me to school.
Daniel, we shall answer your question.
It's not easy to actually resist stigma. Like, people who are just deranged. I remember when the same college. Some of me left campus there. It was also a very big blow for me.
True.
So it's not easy, but you can still resist that kind of stigma. There are many things you do which are good that other people don't do. In my trainings as a care support worker, I always tell them, got the tree of life. Things that you can do, things that you cannot do. Sometimes you do certain things better than even other people do. Those who stigmatize me, even people from no class, I will ask them, but me, I have it. You have what? I have it. Let's say I have it. You don't have, someone will tell you. It's me to tell you how things are like. So I am always very tough on that. Many of our people are
True. True.
So people should be encouraged, people with mental health challenges, should be encouraged to also know the things they're good at doing. They are very helpful in society.
True.
They do certain things very well. They must be encouraged along those lines. So they can be able to stand up with their feet. So they are also useful.
Actually, you have just said something which is very good. Do you know that most of the billionaires we have in this world are people who have bipolar condition? Because they take risks when they are at that hyper moment. They take risks and they do big things. It is until when they sink into the other side of depression, that's when things lag a bit. But when they come back again, they hit with the one force. And that's why they are able to move. So there's an online question. I want to take that one from online. And then from there, we'll also come back to take one. There was a hand here, yes. Online.
Okay, Daniel, I can see you have a question. Kindly unmute and ask your question.
Thank you, moderator. To thank you for all those who made this initiative, especially when they made it in a very innovative way about the egg, the wrapping of the egg. And so mine is not a question, it is an addition. I'm actually a senior citizen who has lived with mental health challenges since when I was 13 in S1 to date. So, a retired senior clinical officer.
Wow.
But I'm also a mental health rights activist at the UN level. So I would also like that in the near future, when this forum continues, that we don't only look at the medical mode of approach of mental health. Mental health is very large because there's life after a mental health institution. There's life after medication. So can we look at our rights, the right to work, where we need reasonable accommodation, where even the employment, they ask, have you ever suffered a mental illness before? And not to help you, but discriminate you from the interview. Such issues, the legal capacity, whereby people have gone to court to give witness and they say, that person suffers a mental illness, and they crush it, the lawyers, they use the word unsound mind. And even today, even politics, people lose their offices. They say, according to the law, you can only lose this office when you become of unsound mind. So we need to look at all those, because now we are living in a stressful world. COVID brought in a lot of stress. Socioeconomic issues, you have talked about poverty there, it is prevailing, and many other issues. So I would request that we look at it from a holistic, also integrate the social economic matters, the social, human rights-based approaches. Thank you very much, but it is a very good initiative, and continue doing it, irrespective of whether people think it is money. It is not money. We also began like that. We got a lot of criticism, but to date, we are quite ahead of time, because I'm a board member of the World Network of Users and Survivors of Psychiatry, and also the board member for the International Disability Alliance. So I would think we join hands and we continue sensitizing. This is actually sensitizing, and it is the role of government, but of course it may not be their priority. But when you come up as individuals and come up with this initiative, it's a very good awareness raising. I applaud you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel, my namesake. I want to bring it from that perspective immediately. On Friday, I had a meeting at Parliament because we are arranging a program for Parliamentary Forum for Mental Health Awareness, which is scheduled for 20th to 25th of May. We are going to create more awareness, but one of the areas I'm focusing on are issues of policy. Actually, I raised it on Friday in that meeting because I raised the concerns on policy, because in our human resource policy as a government, if somebody has a history of mental illness, their chances of getting employed is very minimal. Actually, it's not there. And then two, we are also, the other day I was also trying to raise some concerns on policy, especially for our staff. If somebody gets mental health challenges at workplace, instead of deleting their name from payroll, why can't you treat them and then bring them back on board at work? So those are some of the policy issues that actually we are following up on, and I'm passionate about this because I think I was even telling the chairman Parliamentary Forum committee, I was telling that MP that I will die a happy man if I said some of these policies are changed when I'm still alive. I will die a very happy man because our people need support. You can't fire somebody just because of their mental health problems. You cannot deny somebody their rights just because of their mental health problems. Yet you can actually treat them and also help them recover. So that's one thing that we're trying to work on. Please, the advocacy has to continue. Thank you so much, my brother. There was a question. Yes, now we're coming back to physical. Yes, welcome. You can come closer.
Thank you. My name is Alonji Moses Salaka. I'm a retired teacher from St. Joseph's Church of Uganda on Jivu. My question is like this. In 1960s, during the Obote I government, when you finish P7, you are so valuable that you are employed as a clerk, as a secretary in any office. And when you finish Senior 4, you are so valuable that you are given a job. Now when you finish university, in fact you are taken, you are admitted to employment before you complete your university. But this time when you finish P7, you are nothing. When you finish Senior 4, you have just tested the depth of education. When you finish university, you dwell the streets until your shoes becomes, which angle are there mathematicians here?
60 degrees.
If you look at many of these people who drink very early in the morning in the bars, who sit by the roadside begging for money for alcohol, they are the youth. Am I speaking?
Yeah.
Universities produce graduates every year. How many universities do we have in Uganda here? And if you look at number of graduates they produce graduates after graduates, but the jobs are not there now. Those jobs P7 leavers used to do, they are not there. even this time to employ you as a sweeper is not there. Unless you have a relative to fluke you through. Of recent, Nira called for interviews here. If you look at people who came for these interviews, there are over 1,000 people, but there are less than 100 jobs. People don't have jobs. What is the effect now? The result of substance abuse. Somebody gets drunk in the morning. Instead of going to do work, the youth already drunk. This substance abuse has even extended up to secondary schools. Of late, we have been having inter-schools games and this football tournament. Youth drink before they go for these things. Why? Now, Director, my question is, isn't unemployment source of mental disorder in this country? Thank you.
It does. In fact, in my book here, it is one of those issues that I addressed as one of the causes. Because lack of a job or unemployment plays a very big role. Because our jobs offer a safer landing, at least. But then we are trying to see, okay, if the jobs are not there, what can we do? And then that's where, right now, in our communities, we've been teaching people, if there are no jobs, then there is work. Find a work. The difference is this. Job, somebody has to employ you. But work, you employ yourself. So that the shift is what we're trying to do for some people. For example, I was talking to somebody to help him understand the importance of work. He gave me his scenario that he just needed a job. I said, how much do you want to be paid? He said, even if they pay me $150 per month. I said, that is good. I said, okay, let's do the math. You want to be paid $150 at least, so that you can work, which is okay. That means 5,000 per day. Then I asked them, okay, how many hours per day that you think you're going to work? Assuming it is 10 hours per day. That means if you divide the 5,000 by 10 hours, we are talking about how much? We're talking about 500 shillings per hour. Now helping him to see, okay, if you are getting 500 shillings per hour from your place of work, where you're going to be employed for 10 hours. If you make your own chapati and a Rolex. So when we did our math with him, we actually discovered the 150 could be his profit every month. Bare minimum. And something he can only do in the evenings. That means in the morning hours he can find another work to do somewhere. So the more we talked, that was when actually he saw the idea that, oh, I can actually do work. But our problem has been our education system creates more job seekers than job creators. That's where the crisis is. So we're trying to see, can we redefine education system? In fact, there is a conference happening on 19th and 20th of this month. Somebody shared with me the link later on, but I told him if I don't raise the $100 to attend it this coming week, because it's going to be in Kampala, but it is going to be at $100 to attend for 3 days. Because they are trying to look at education system. They are trying to look at how can we redefine our education sector as a country. These top people are there. The policymakers are there. So we want to see how can we bring our ideas to see how we can change our education system. That means what? All of us can actually do something. All of us, we can do something to promote mental well-being and also to prevent the crisis. Many of our young people are drinking because of frustration, yes. Some of them are drinking because monkey see, monkey do. A puppy will always learn to sit from the parents. Some of them are drinking and smoking or taking whatever drug they're taking because their parents are doing the same. Some of them are doing it because of the peer pressure. I've also been involved in many of the schools here. In fact, one of the things that we are going to do in our school mental health program that we want to continue addressing is this issue of drug use. Do you realize that there was a year, 2022, in the first term there were 34 schools that went on strike in West Nile? You remember it? And the bigger percentage of these issues were drug related. Because I personally got involved in it, we went to all these schools and I personally talked to the students, parents and the staff for many of the schools. We even interviewed some of the children who were responsible. They also led us to do more investigations. That is how we landed on the use of the dry skin of snakes and the smoking of the gray hair. Because we talked to the people themselves, why they were doing that and what was behind it. But that's when we discovered there was an organization that was recruiting young people into drugs. So, there are so many issues that we can actually address as community. But the point is, each one can do what they can. Looking back at the egg, not everybody was involved in the wrapping of the egg. Others gave advice, others do the wrapping, while others were having the toilet paper, others were using others were only tearing the masking tape. Everyone was doing something at your capacity, based on your ability. We can do something. Do you know, even if you go right now to Arua city here, we are going to be buying chips and chicken from people who are not of here. Believe it? Our people will say there are no jobs and there's no work. But if you just go there, people who understand that there is too much money in West Nile are here. Actually, they are reaping big. The other point that I want to say as I answer that question is, we need to be able to teach our people how to work and work smart. That's why I want to take it back to the Bible. Titus chapter 3 verse 14. We must, our people must learn to do, will I quote it well? Anybody with the Bible? Titus 3:14. It has come in my mind, so I can just throw it there. Yeah, Titus 3:14.
Our people must learn to devote themselves to doing what they do.
That is not work. Our people must work, to do what? To be able to do what?
In order to provide for urgent needs.
That is the point. That's the point. Another version.
People have to learn
in their work, not in their job.
so that all their necessities are met.
So that it is from your work, not your job, because your job somebody has to employ you and give you terms and conditions. But your own work, you're going to do it with all diligence. So that you're able to do what?
Especially the needy, and they don't end up with nothing to show for their life.
That one is a bit tough. So, but the point here is we can teach people how to do that. But then the point here is we have ideas, but we want people's idea. That's why the book of Broke by Choice, end of it, the last chapter of this book, is to see how you can develop your own idea and you can run with it. Because all of us are gifted differently. To one, Jesus said to one is given 5, another one is given 2, another one is given 1, but each one is given according to their ability. That's why in treatment and recovery for mental illness, there is what we call occupational therapy, where somebody learns to do something with their hands. So that at the end of the day, he talked about making baskets and all that. At the end of the day, you will not be idle. You will be able to work with your hands. You will be able, because the Bible says, after all, God will bless the work of your hands. So when we harness all of these together, we can actually have productive lives. And even with or without mental illness, we can still thrive. That's why the point for me here is how we can be able to thrive, not to just survive. Make the shift from simply surviving to thriving. We should be able to thrive with or without mental health challenges. Yeah, there is a hand here, and then we will also go back online to one of the online questions. Welcome.
I just also want to add something with the one question. I'm called Samson Olema. I'm a retired pharmacy technician The last job I did was of inspector of drugs, whereby I was able to take some doctors to court. By that time, the responsibility of things like Njai, Marunji, those substance abuse were under National Drug Authority. And we will get a policeman to go with to attack those people who are breaking the law. Though many of us were so corrupt that they never took a single person to court. When I tried to take people to court, my director of health services said, you take away those things, I don't want to be involved. I arrested a witch doctor who was claiming to treat people. Everybody feared the man. Even the police were scared. But now today, government changed the policy. The policemen who are just senior four leavers without any experience or without even a paper, some are not even senior four leavers, some are from primary actually. Some are failures and they use people's papers to get that job. Have now been given responsibility to get more corruption, to earn more money. Because there's plenty of Nzai in my village. Actually, everywhere in West Nile, they are growing that thing in the sorghum, in the valleys. In my village, it is worse because it is being grown near the church. So I'm just wondering whether that policy of giving responsibility to arrest tobacco, Nzai producers to be taken to court by policemen can really be changed back to National Drug Authority. Because if you tell a policeman to arrest the criminals, they actually never arrest them. Even if they arrested, they have actually a clan brother who buys in our village. It may be about 30 or 50 kilos. When he's arrested, he says he only needs to give 2 million to the policeman. And he is going. Then when he reaches Kampala, the man who is got official license to make drugs, to produce morphine injection, other injections, tablets and so on, he buys it from him. He gets about 10 million and comes back to buy more. A basin of it in the village costs only 5,000.
Yet they are selling it at 150 a basin.
Yes. So I think this government seems to be putting regulations for people, ordinary policemen or other people, civil servants, people who are in jobs, just for earning illegal money to make their ends meet. Policemen will never take any person to court, a wrongdoer, even thieves here in Arua. They will rather you take. There was a thief who were arrested in Anyafio because he had come to steal a goat of my neighbor. When he is taken to police, the following day was to write a statement. They said the man has been beaten much, so they have released him to go for treatment. That was the end of the story. So I think the worst virus for us in this government of NRM is actually corruption. Because I don't see anything. Like our monies were eaten by human resource. About 13 of us, about 250 million. What did they do? They double paid the people. People came to give the money now outside where there's no evidence. For example, there's one teacher who was supposed to be paid 48 million. The auditor told him, if you want to get your money, let us work this thing again. He was worked 90 million. So the 40 million, when it has ended, bring the money. The 40 million is brought. The auditor has not signed. The truth is that how was it approved from 48 to 90? The evidence is there. All the people who signed, ideally, if the government had some brains, if people in this government had some brains, they should have said, why did you approve this one? It was not a question of now eating money. Why did you approve this one? When his official one was approved 48 million, how did it reach 90 million? Even my mother, who never went to school, can reason that. So the issue is nobody now cares. So I'm warning you people, with your children, families, if you expect to be protected by government, they are never going to be protected. Each father must look after his child. If you are a drunkard, your children will also be drunkards. If you eat marungi, your children will eat marungi. Didn't our big people here, I knew of one person, even was RDC, he was chewing marungi, eating these things. So no wonder the laws in Uganda have no effect. They are just put there like for people who are thieves and who break the law. I think it has no effect. So long as you don't mess with the security of the country, the rest is to whom it may concern. So I think if you are going to meet the parliamentarians, you tell them, surely the issue of leaving people to grow marungi without licenses is too much. Even in my village, I told you, they are even growing marungi near the church. If you are going to the church, if you are a visitor, you can even see it. In fact, if you take this shortcut from Warichene up to Yole, you will see marungi, you will see njai on the road side. Then you branch, you go to Abindi church. When you are approaching the church, you even see it, it is now raining. The seeds have started germinating. If those people think I'm telling a lie, let them come and check. Around July there, marungu and ninja will be this size. On the roadside, and you will wonder whether they have lances. So how do you get lances for people, ordinary people who have not gone to school? And most of the dropouts, people now, they can't pay school fees. They say school is supposed to be free. So if children don't go to school, nobody cares. If parents are asked for examination fee of 2,000 shillings, nobody wants to pay. Even their own children, if you ask money for drinking porridge or for buying firewood, nobody cares. So everything, teachers, primary teachers, their hands are tied. Now they have brought that issue to use to secondary school. Our country seems to be lawless. Lawlessness is too much. I don't know when but eventually they will pay back. They will reap what they are sowing. We shall reap what we are sowing. Particularly when we continue saying that MPs they are going to be elected back. So for me, I'm not going to vote for any MP. I would rather.
You are right. You are right. You must also vote for the president as well. Now, you see, these are real issues actually. These are real issues. But one thing I want to assure you is there is actually a bill which was passed. The president acceded to it, and it is the psychoactive drugs. And all of these drugs, there is at least a law. So it's actually in place.
But the law is supposed to be implemented by policemen.
So now this is where the issue is now. Now that, you see, this is where the issue is. That's why we must now be able to gather information and then we see how do we enforce these policies. Because personally, we've done group barazas. We've done, live along these barazas in town here. We've done community dialogues, where we come to a village, we meet with the village team, we meet OC of the areas around, the people around, community leaders around. We discuss some of these issues, the dangers of the drug use and all that. And then the members themselves, when they see the dangers, then many of them come up with their resolutions. I've been to a community where we did this, and the community anonymously agreed that they were going to be drug-free village. And what did they do? They decided to uproot whatever is drug-related. And then also they passed a law by themselves, so we helped them to put in their signature so that nobody can say that they didn't sign. So, and then from there, and then we said, okay, how can the police help them? Because police needs also to be helped. Police need to be guided. And I have the same experience. I know a community where the LCC1 chairman also has his plantation for marungi and opium. Yes. So, but when we engaged him, finally he accepted to deal away with his. But the one for his brother is still there. But but slowly we can get there. But it takes all of us to be able to speak. It takes one voice, because now we know. Arua, for example, West Nile. If you just come to Arua City here, our young people on the drug abuse side, the number is overwhelming, and we are seeing the chaos. Just like you are saying, when you detect the thief there, the thief comes out. I think that is why, if you are very keen, just this last 2 weeks, over 5 thieves have been killed in Arua City here. And even those who are burnt also as well. Because I think even yesterday one was killed here at the driver's corner. You know, so but mob justice is not the deal. The issue here will be, how can the community be sensitized? How can the community be sensitized about these issues, so that we can see how best these issues can actually be helped. So thank you so much for that concern. We will always keep engaging. Yes, madam. A lady has never spoken. Gender based. We must balance the gender, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I don't like low energy. I hope we're getting good knowledge. I'm called Winnie. I'm a confidence coach. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm glad to have met you. I've moved everywhere and I find him going before me. And they're like, yeah, he's doing a great work. Thank you so much. And thank you, St. Phillips, for this opportunity. I'm thrilled. I love to see it when we get information. One thing I've learned is we do not have information. And that is one thing that is affecting us, and a lot of us make decisions because we are not clear of what we do. So I also do a bit of mental health, but I look at emotional rehabilitation. From that angle, we try to fix some of those things now from the emotional root. And if you're a parent here, do I have parents around? Yeah, there are very few, and there are some who are upcoming. You are the greatest contributor in child development. Anything you do to your child, the contribution is 70%. So when the child grows and you've already put them more confident, then they're able to face the world a little bit better. But then if you didn't do it, you're opening doors for them, because substance abuse comes through isolation, isn't it? Yeah. When somebody feels all alone, there's no one on my side, so they start taking alcohol because our friends who are taking me into this, and at the end someone gets spoiled. So it's our responsibility to do this if you're a parent. Now I have a question. In case somebody has something to do with a bipolar, is there a possibility for them to get out of medication? Because there's someone I know who has treated this for quite a given period of time, and I just wanted to know for the sake. And then one other thing, though, something we talked about, you know, sometimes it's hard to talk to people. Right now I even fear talking, because you talk to Becca, for example, then you're going to hear it with Saka. And a lot of people are now afraid of talking. They're like, let me keep my issues. One of the things I do is journaling. I became so stressed because of my color. I went to a primary school where we had white kids, half castes and all this, so I started feeling inferior. And now when I started paying attention to that, I realized Nigerian movies didn't have dark-skinned people, and that was the entertainment I consumed. You know, the dark people are either satanic, we have seen that, religious movies. The dark people were either guards or police, or they are doing those low-collar jobs. And I started developing the feeling that being dark-skinned is a problem. And then being slim, everyone is like, you're very thin, you're very thin. And that's made me develop another inferiority complex. So I sank deep, I was isolated. And it made me make a lot of wrong choices, because now you start looking for relationships of validation. You need somebody so that I feel okay, maybe that I have this person, I feel better. And how I picked out myself, I had to do some therapies, but one of the key tools I did was journaling, writing down how I feel. You know, sometimes it's hard to tell people, but then you're right. Today I feel so sad, I feel so angry, I feel this. It feels like you've talked to somebody. Yeah? If you're very sensitive, you tear it, you throw it in the bin, or you burn it so that no one will see it. But then if it's okay, you can talk to someone, it's always all right. It's going to save you and you're going to be better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a question as well?
Yeah, I had a question.
Thank you so much. Your question is going to be answered. You can ask.
Okay,
yes,
please. You can use the mic as well.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Mine is, first of all, an appreciation for the team that has put this together. Very glad that we're able to discuss mental health and mental illnesses and things in that category. Secondly, special appreciation to the men who are here, because while growing up, personally in my early primary, around P4, P5, I was living near the hospital, that is Butabika Hospital, and we used to have cases. By then, it was not yet fenced like it is today. We used to have a lot of cases of, can I say, escaped patients, for lack of a better word. And all I remember is most of them used to be men. And then also there's that cultural aspect that, and already our first year I've talked about it, the issue of facing life as a man. You are not allowed to talk, you're not allowed to seek help from anyone. If you actually seek help, in some cases they'll make fun of you and say, but this is a small thing. And yet for you it's weighing you down so seriously. So for me that brings to light the fact that we need, without sounding discriminative against the women, as men we need to have, I would say, more support, because women, as already, they have a coping mechanism. They're able to share quickly, they cry, and crying sometimes you're not allowed to talk to anyone. So at the end of the day, suicide cases among men statistically are higher than those among women. Yeah. And also appreciation to the team, and I'm very glad to hear cases of where they've been moving around, doing community barazas in the villages, because again, for us here in West Nile, when you have any form of mental illness or anything for that matter, it is quickly attributed to your family. Your father did this, your great-grandfather did the other one. So there's always the component of cultural, the cultural angle being brought in, even in cases of the case you're having is probably something that is treatable when you seek help. Yeah. And then lastly, for anyone here that could be facing any form of mental illness, personally I had an experience in 2018 where I was depressed to the point of being suicidal. And what helped at that point was a friend that I was always talking to, and he really helped me. He wasn't really saying so many things to me. I would vent out to him, but then just having someone to vent out to, someone that listens to you, and someone just throws advice here and there, helped me a lot to recover from that. So thank you so much to the team. That is all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. There was a hand here, and then I can summarize all of them once.
If there's a hand, please come.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Mine's just a simple question, but before I give out the question, I have a relative. It's now, I think, over, okay, the time he was in senior 4, before he sat for his paper, he had a peer that told him, you know what, if you want to read very hard and be able to understand what you're reading and be able to pass, try and use some drugs. And he ended up using it, and it affected him badly. And he has been like that for quite some time. And as you had said earlier on, that this can be treated. And so I would like to ask, like, how long must someone have been having mental illness be helped? Because you find someone will end up staying like over 10 years, 15 years, to the extent that maybe when you come and ask the people around, like, what happened? Like, no, that one, nothing. He cannot be helped or she cannot be helped. So how can I be of help to such kind of a person who has stayed for quite that long? I believe you will be able to help me that way.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
There is one here, and then from there I take the. Oh, there's another one there, and then from there.
I think these two will be our last.
Yeah, and then from there I can summarize them.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Ramadan Dennis. I'm a nurse by profession, and I want to just appreciate one thing that made me become a nurse. I remember when I was in senior 2, reaching senior 3, I faced a rejection by my parents and my clan people because I chose to be a Christian, and for that reason they refused to support me at school. I was badly depressed. I felt like committing suicide, but I thank God I had the good friends around me who were in scripture union, and so they would encourage me and tell me, let's pray, God will help you. And indeed, though I was a good student, excelling in my class, my performance started coming down very gradually, up to the extent I still testify this, that I got 0-1 in physics, yet in my mind I wanted to be a nurse by profession, and you cannot be a nurse by profession when you don't pass physics and those other science subjects. So I thank God for my friends, and they kept praying with me. Slowly by slowly I opened up. I talked to a few people and few friends. They encouraged me. Somebody told me go to school and I would see what will be the outcome. I went to school. Indeed, I passed my senior 4. I got myself passing the science subjects, and I chose to go for a nursing school. Now, in 2020, I celebrated a birthday, and a friend of mine bought for me a book, Overcome Rejection. I think it's there.
Yeah, this one.
Yes, this one. He bought for me this book, Overcome Rejection. It took me only 1 week because I was very nervous. I wanted to know what is all here. So I read it in 1 week. I made my summaries and I kept them for myself. The only thing I have to do is only to contact Mr. Daniel and tell him I read his book. Thank you so much. Yeah. Now, after reading this book, I went to school, to the nursing school. The one who had poorly performed in secondary school got almost all A's in the nursing school. This is after me being relieved from this. So mental health can also lead to deterioration in performances, and I would encourage you, open up, seek for the help. As they have said, you never know, you can also be relieved from, like just me, and you can also excel. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for helping me with your book.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. Come on, give us. And then we give back to our facilitator to close.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am Owuzio Eve. My second name means no crying. This was a name that was given by my dad. But now the question I have here is, it actually pains me to see that our leaders who are supposed to stop drug abuse are the very ones who encourage it. How the same doctors who are saying don't drink, you just walk to the corner here around Venice Place here, you find many of them are there. Our MPs who are supposed to be the examples of stopping drug abuse are the same people sitting in that place. Do you see how people buy disability for themselves using their own money they make? Someone makes money but drinks it and breaks himself. The next minute he's complaining, why God, why did you allow me to be like this? God, why did you allow me to be like this? Some of us who have grown through it, actually always tell them, I say, you people, don't join where you will not be able to contain. Stay where you are and be happy where you are. And let us be where we are. Why I tell them this is because they go and use those drugs. Those drugs, they are the very ones who fill that place. And then at the end of the day, this goes to the parents. You as a parent, if you begin talking negatively about your own child, the ones outside will look at this child negatively. But once a child looks at this, once the parents look at this child positively, right from the father to the aunties, to the grandfather, to the grandmother, I want to tell you, this very one you think has mental illness will come out of it even without medication. I have studied through my condition. I have at least one classmate, my school, one or two schoolmates here, who will testify that I studied in this condition and I am in it. And I speak to people. I have talked to church leaders not to call us the names they call us. They wear collars, but these are people who are supposed to help you come out of your situation. They are the very ones who throw you away and say, this one we cannot help. Let us only pray. Yet you have an answer to this child's problem. It may not be physical. You act as a spiritual parent. I have reverends who have contributed to my life to become what I am today. One of them is Reverend Leviticus. This is a man who was being opposed that he shouldn't help me. But when I joined that school, where he was a principal, I happened to emerge among the best 10.
Wow.
What? It came through the love they have. Once the love is not there, friends, all we're talking about here is nothing. If we love them, they will come out. I have friends who have come out of such a situation. They drink from morning to evening, but I go and tell them, you people, why do you buy disability on your own? I sit them down and talk. I don't reject them. But what do? This one is very useless. This is, you know, you call yourself too holy that you cannot reach anyone. Thanks.
Thank you. I like this. Can we appreciate her for this? You see, these are real issues. These are real issues. I want to tell you this. One day a parent kept telling his son that you are stupid, you are stupid. The boy was failing. Second term, senior 4. The parent came for VD and the results were very bad. The parent asked, why are you performing very poor? The boy said, because I'm stupid. And when the father said, no, you're not stupid, from that wasn't then. Because this was young, when the boy was still young. And the father kept emphasizing how stupid the boy was. The boy knew he was stupid, so he could not pass. So, this was second term, senior 4. The father said, no, from today you are a wise boy. You are my pride. You are a wise boy. I love you. You know, the father talked nice about him. End of result, end of year, the guy was among the first graders. What we speak, what we pronounce of our children plays a very big role. The other question that were there, somebody asked here, let me begin from here because I can easily forget these other two because this other one is here. He asked how long can somebody be treated? For how long? If somebody has that problem, how can they be helped and for how long? And what can somebody do? One thing I want to say is this, I've tested this and personally I have been involved where we picked somebody from the dustbin, mentally ill from the dustbin. We got the psychiatric nurse to treat. We fed her very well. Medication was on time. When she began stabilizing a bit, counseling and psychotherapy started. Within 4 months, she was perfect well. 4 months. We handed her back to her family when she was in sound state. So that is where we are like, no, these things work. Even if this was one who was picked from the dustbin. We have also seen people who have recovered fully within 2 months, within 3 months. Also, we have also seen people whose recovery took over a year. So what I can say, there is no time bound for somebody because all factors must be constant. What are these issues? The psychotherapy needs to come in play, occupational therapies and all kinds of therapies that need to come, and then as well as treatment needs to come, the counseling, the praying and all of that, this must happen. Somebody will actually recover. All of us, I can assure you this, anybody can recover. Somebody asked about bipolar control, somebody with the bipolar. I know people who have recovered completely from bipolar. I know them. Right now they are not on medication and they are doing well. The only thing that they are doing very extremely well is not that they have stopped medications. Their therapy, they are always on their therapies. Because with the therapies you must learn how do you cope, coping mechanisms, so that you avoid a relapse. Relapse always happens. People don't recover from mental illness if the following are not in place. Number one, if there is inadequate medication. They give you medications, you skip them or you don't take them. Or if you have to take them, you take them at your own will. You don't take it according to the prescription. You will not recover in time. Or even you may not even recover because of that inadequate medications. Number two, inadequate psychotherapy. If there is inadequate psychotherapy, you may also take longer to recover. Number three, if there is no support from the family, because the primary caregiver for your recovery is your family. If the family is not involved in your treatment and your recovery, and if the family is doing the opposite, instead of supporting you, they are the one breaking you, the recovery becomes very hard. That's why the last chapter of this book of Hope, the Age of Depression here, is how to support somebody who is mentally ill, how to support somebody who is depressed, how to support somebody in that condition, so that you understand how those things work. The last one, if there is inadequate social support, yeah, no one is an island. That's why these two eggs never broke, because there was teamwork to see that they were healthy. Yeah, we saw it. Yeah, so the teamwork, the social network. That's why I want to bring for you this story. Do you know the story in the Bible? I love to tell it because we are in the church compound. Job was in a bad state. You remember the story of Job? You remember the story? Bible says when he lost everything that was dear to him, even the wife was not telling him, you are now useless, why can't you curse God and you die? But Bible says three of Job's friends, when they heard about what had happened to Job, they came. Those are friends. When they came, what did they do? They didn't even tell him anything. They didn't say any word. They didn't bring him anything. But they came. Bible says when they came, when they saw where Job was, all they did was to tear their clothes, and they came and sat with Job where Job was seated. 7 days and 7 nights, nobody said a word, but they were present with Job. Now if you go to Job chapter 3, Bible says now Job opened up. People open up and speak. But they can only open up when you're present, when they feel your presence, when there's social support. Because this was when now Job felt that I have support system. Even though my children are gone, I've lost all the property, my wife is even threatening to abandon me, but I have these friends who have come for me. Do you have any friends around you? Do you have some people you can call your friends? Support system, the support. That's why we keep emphasizing the support networks, the support groups. Support group meetings work. That's why even both here in Arua and Kampala, where the support group meetings, I attend them. Personally, also myself, I go for those meetings. Support peer groups. I go there, we engage, we share experiences, we talk. How did you manage? How are you managing now? Right now, I'm not on medication, and yeah, but still that cannot tell me to tell you that you should stop your medication. No. I can't be the one to tell, but the doctor can be the one to tell. Yeah, based on whatever you're going through. And if your social support systems are okay, I can assure you things will work. That's why I want to encourage each one of you who is here. If you have no groups that you belong to. Where you hear youth, be there among the youth. If you hear women meeting, attend the women groups. If there is men, attend men fellowships. If it is whichever fellowship, identify with your peers. I'm a Liverpool fan, we have a group. Though we've lost today. Yeah, we lost 1-0 to, but still you never walk alone. You know? We never walk alone. You know? You never walk alone. Because that is the motto. You will never walk alone. Have somebody to share with, have somebody to talk to. You know? So this is how we manage. This is how we keep moving. That's why our anthem says, don't, when you walk through storm, hold your head on high. Don't be afraid of the dark. Because at the end of the day, there is still a golden sky. So keep walking with the rain, full of rain, with the storm, even when there is storm, even when there is wind, keep going. Never give up. You'll never walk alone. So that's what we do. Support system, support who is in your networks. Because your net worth depends on your network. Who are you associating with? Who are the 5 people you associate with the most? I want to ask again. Who are the 5 people who you are associated with the most? Who are they? 5. Because if you're not very careful, you are the average of those 5. You spend most of your time with. So the question is, who are they? Are there people who can help you come out of this crisis? I'm not saying that you befriend people so that they can come out of your problem. No. But who are you supporting? Because at the end of the day, you must be able to support, and then you also support it. That's why I like the Bible. Give, and it shall be given. This thing of ask and you will be given, I am beyond that one. That is for young believers. Matthew 7:7. Ask, you will be given. That is for young believers. Go to the second version in Luke. Give, and you will be given. Same measure. Pressed, shaken together, and overflowing. Will be. So it comes back to networks. It comes back to friendships. She asked a question. It was about. Yeah, the one of bipolar. Okay, and then this other last question is it possible for your organization to lobby for training in occupational therapy for volunteers and peer support workers with the mental health unit of Arua Regional Hospital to help establish a better situation on the ground? Yes, it is possible. That's why actually I am in touch with the head of department of the psychiatric unit of Arua, Sister Rita. I'm always in touch with her. And actually some of the problems that we are trying to see is to see how we can also be able to, on a monthly basis, to come and see how we can offer support to them. Because they are overwhelmed as well. The regional hospital is overwhelmed with numbers. People are too many. So we want to see how we can be of help through psychotherapy and occupational therapies and all that. So we are open. In fact, this year we want to see how we can do more. Though right now we don't have any funding, but we are trusting God that when God avails us some funds, these are some of the things that we want to put. Because occupational therapy is what we need. Because at the end of the day, if somebody recovers, so what next? Somebody has been drinking too much because of frustration of lack of a job. Now when they stop drinking, what will they do? What work have you prepared for them to do? How have you prepared them for that life after recovery? So those are some of the things that we are trying to work on. Otherwise, with all our support, recovery is possible. But above all, let's embrace mental health awareness. Let's help people to know some of these things. Yes, my colleague. Oh, yes, there is a hand here.
Thank you so much. My name is Lydia Chandini. I have a question.
Yep.
How long should someone have suffered? Okay, I'm giving this example in reference to cancer, how someone says stage 1 you can treat, stage 2 you can treat, stage 4 you can't. It's beyond treatment. So how long should someone have suffered from a mental illness for them to be able to receive help and they recover fully? Thank you.
Okay, just before, in the interest of time, our time has been fast spent. This shall be the last question and then the facilitator will conclude.
Okay.
And then we say some remarks and leave.
Please, I want to emphasize this. We have mild conditions and we have severe conditions. I want to give an example of the mild condition. If I can just highlight some of the symptoms of mental illness here. Appetite problems, problem with appetite where you lose appetite, you don't want to eat food. Or for some of us, we overeat. We have too much appetite instead. Do you struggle with sleep, where sleep has refused you? Or do you sleep in that even when they carry you out with the bed, you cannot even wake up? Do you have issue with anger? Something small irritates you. Do you sometimes feel fatigued and you lose energy? Do you sometimes feel you're not good enough? You are useless? Do you sometimes lose interest in what you used to love doing? You lose interest? Do you sometimes want to be alone? You don't want people, you want to stay alone? You don't want to be with people? Are there times you get temptation to have reckless behavior? To drink, to move around, go in the streets and all that? Are there times you don't have interest in even going to the bathroom? You put on what is available. You don't care whether it is clean or not clean. Are there times your body pains you and you go to the hospital and then they say you are fine, but when your body is paining you? Having headache, one side is aching, one side is okay, and then you say it is witchcraft, when it is not. Maybe the head is just aching you from here. Are there times when you have your own meeting with yourself? Ask you a question, you answer it. If it is funny, you laugh at it. Are there times you have uncoordinated speech? You begin a story, don't finish, you jump to another story, but whatever somebody is speaking is not coordinated? Are there times you see things others don't see? Or you hear voices others don't hear? Are there times you just feel you just want to die? You're not good enough, it's therefore you are suicidal? You just feel, I just need to die? All of these are symptoms of mental illness, and even many more. However, many of us are having these issues but at the mild condition. Mild stage. At the mild stage, all you can do, you might not need medication, but you can get psychotherapy. You can just get to talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. You can be helped early enough without even medication. Medication can come in when it has become severe, when you have taken long to diagnose that actually this is the condition, but then it has gone to the severe stage where it is now affecting your body, affecting everything around you. That's when you must be put on medication. That's why we emphasize, please, when things are still early, engage early. In fact, if you diagnose your issues early, you are helped early enough. And if you're helped early enough, you can even sustain it. I like our colleague online. He said he was diagnosed when he was 13 years. Now he's a retired clinical officer. Retired. So how many years are those? From senior 1, 13 years. But he has a faithful bill on his medications, and he's living a full life. Our brother just shared here. He has been fully on medications since 2000. Yeah. How many years are this? And he's okay. If actually, when somebody sees him, they will know that actually he has epilepsy, because in our context here, we think somebody with epilepsy must have scars, wounds, fire, all that. It is because we don't understand these things early enough. When did we detect early enough, and we are put on medication early enough, things work out. So that question is, the point here is, it's not about for how long somebody has suffered. Anybody can recover. If they can adhere to medications, if there is a family support, if there is adequate psychotherapy, above all, if somebody accepts that they need help. Because you can help somebody who doesn't need help. And it becomes very hard even for them to recover. It is until somebody actually accepts that I need help. I cannot summarize and end without him summarizing. So I want him to come and summarize, and then we close.
Yeah, thank you for opportunity given once again. The discussion has been very interesting. Yes? Did anybody benefit? If we all benefited, we need to have call to action. We who have attended this session, we need to go out as life-changing agents. What are we going to do? The question is, should we first wait people to break down, walking naked, talking alone, and then we take action? No. We need to start from where we are. Self-care. We who are here, we are working, we are doing so many things, we don't take care of ourselves. We don't take good care of our mental health. You're overwhelmed. You have burnout at work. You work from 8 a.m. up to sometimes 10, sometimes midnight. You don't give yourself time to rest. You understand? We have so many things to do. Even our colleagues, let us offer peer support. Thank you. Huh? Peer support. If you realize that your friend is breaking down, support. Don't say, it is upon him. No.
That's normally what we say.
We don't want that one. So we who are here, if you know you have ever suffered a disorder, me, I don't want to call it a mental illness, a disorder. Stress is already a disorder. If you have ever been stressed, please support somebody who is also stressed. You understand? Let us take genuine initiatives to see that our mental well-being is as important as our physical well-being. We understand that? We are here talking about so many conditions. Others, we don't know them because we didn't have time to discuss them. Actually, when I was sharing the poster, somebody asked me, this is episode 1, when is episode 2 going to be? So the question goes back to the organizer. When is the episode 2 going to be? We can even come and share on specific issues or specific disorders such that we understand them more. Probably we who are seated here, we are having them. Only that we do not understand. You get that? We do assessments. You understand? Let me give one clue on marriage. See, issues to do with the heart is very critical. And people who are marrying, they are marrying because of heart issues, not body issues. In a church, when you are going to wed, how many days do you do retreat? People who have been doing a retreat, how many days?
It varies. Most people need for 3 days.
3 days. Wonderful. Wonderful. 3 days for a wedding. Now, wedding is for 1 day. Marriage is for
lifetime.
Lifetime. How many days do we take to prepare these people?
For the marriage.
For the marriage.
Not for the wedding.
Not for the wedding. One for the wedding, which is 1 day, you take 3 days. But for the one which is long time, lifetime, we don't prepare them. So, young men who are here, please, before you marry, you must attend couple sessions. Attend couple sessions to see whether you match. There are some people who marry, the day they wed is the day they divorce or they separate. It's because probably they just got in the church overnight, they engaged, they dated. You find they are mismatching. You understand? We need to have sessions before we get engaged into marriage, such that this issue of breaking the heart stops. We who are here, if you know you are still drinking, please be a change agent. You cannot preach water and you drink wine. I like my sister. People who are saying, don't drink, are the ones drinking. Don't chew marungi, they are the ones chewing. Please, we who are here, let us ensure that our relatives, our friends, our colleagues, our community, our society are transformed through mental health sessions. Otherwise, we shall all perish. As we talk now, there's already I can say it is an epidemic of suicide. Every day, if we are not responding to the ones who have completed, we are responding to those who have attempted. If you are not responding to those who have attempted, we are responding to the ideations and the thoughts. Please, suicide is not an option. We have support. The necessary support that you have is there, only that seek it. When you seek it, we shall be able to offer for you the support. Otherwise, I want to conclude by saying that mental health is a priority. Thank you.
Action points. What are you going to do as a person? And what can we do as a family? Now this becomes a family now. This is now our family. I think that will be nice if we can come with some of these action points. And at the same time, I have some feedback forms here. Just give us your honest feedback. I have a few copies though. If it misses you, please don't say these people just came with a few. Feel free to still give us your own opinion about your honest feedback. For those who are married, you can share so that you can give us on one paper. Otherwise, thank you so much. But like my colleague has rightly put it here, I think next time we can be more specific. Today it was just general. And then we can begin to look at some of these disorders one at a time. Like I have these flyers here, which are purely for schizophrenia. I have those other ones for bipolar. I have those ones for depression. I have those ones for stress. And also we can be able to address some of these issues one at a time. And we can be able to see how best our people can be helped, how best our community can be supported, and how best the church can be able to be a place of healing, especially for support. Thank you so much. I think I cannot go beyond here now. Thank you so much. Back to the host. Thank you so much for coming. I have these few books that I can leave behind here. These books for those of you who have been passing by some of the bookshops. These books go for 50,000, but I'm going to give an offer, and I'm going to leave these ones here only for here. So that when you go to the bookshops and then you find it is at 50,000, they say, but the man gave us at 30,000. It is only for here. So I think that will be fair to give us here, so that those who may not be ready, they can still get it another time. And then those who are ready can be able to. I have this one, which is for dating and courtship. Who might want this one? Dating and courtship, the art of dating and courtship. Do we have some singles who might need this?
She raised her hand. Okay, so.
Yeah, the hand can be up, but she may not be interested still.
People, I want to appreciate each and everyone.
Anybody wants this?
Who is here? Her hand is up again.
I'm not really single.
But anybody wants it?
I want the other one.
So as our facilitator asks, I want to appreciate each and every one of you that has been with us here right from the it's coming to 3 hours. I want to say thank you very much for coming and supporting this. This has been the first session, and depending on the feedback you will give and how we see fit, we may organize another session and we shall call back our dear brother to come and give us more. I believe that those who spare time to come here, you will not leave the same. I believe you have received some impartation that is going to help you. So together with the team, we shall do a summary of what has been discussed here, and we shall share across our different youth St. Phillips groups. And we hope that it will help accordingly.